Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. On this channel we post writing tips, unboxings, book hauls, book reviews and the occasional vlog. And today I have another book review for you, and it is the Golden Enclaves by Naomi Novik. I have reviewed the two books that came before this. This is a trilogy. If you haven't seen those reviews, those links are above me now. If you haven't read the Scholomance series, read it now. Stop watching this video, go read it, and then watch this video. This is the last book in that, and I was super excited when I got it because we got it at Mr. B's Emporium at a Naomi Novik talk. So I met her and it was amazing, and she signed the book for us. Woo! Me and Matt were so happy. It was great. Before I go into this review, I was actually rather ill whilst reading this book, so it took me a lot longer than normal to read a book of this size, and I didn't take down as many quotes as I would normally. So just a heads up, I wasn't well, so I do apologise. I'm gonna say with this review, normally I would do spoiler free zone and then spoiler alert before there's possible spoilers. I'm just gonna say this full review is spoiler alert because I don't have that many quotes from it, and I need to discuss the full story to be able to discuss this book. So if you haven't read this book and you don't want any spoilers, then just turn away, just stop watching, watch something else, read this, then come back and watch this. But if you haven't read this book and you don't want a spoiler, switch off now. As always, before we get into this review, I'll read you guys the blurb. Before we get into that, don't forget, if you like what you see, to subscribe to this channel. Your continued support means a lot, so thank you guys so much. Blurb time. Saving the world is a test no school of magic can prepare you for. The one thing you never talk about while you're in the Scholomance is what you'll do when you get out. Not even the richest enclave would tempt fate that way. But that impossible dream has somehow come true for Elle and her classmates, and what's more, she didn't even have to become the prophesied Dark Witch to make it happen. Instead of killing enclaves, she saved them, and now the world is safe for all wizards. Peace and harmony have enveloped all the enclaves of the world. Just kidding. Instead, someone else has picked up the project of destroying enclaves in Elle's stead, and everyone she saved is at risk again with a full-scale enclave war on the horizon. And so the first thing Elle needs to do after miraculously escaping Scholomance is to turn straight around and find a way back in. Ooh. It has loads of great reviews. Holly Black says, Novik deliciously undoes expectations about magic schools, destined heroes and family legacies. A gorgeous book. Catherine Arden says, a dark school of magic I've been waiting for. Kieran Millwood Hargrave, a dark, smart, delicious tale. Stephanie Garber, I adored this brilliant book. And Pierce Brown, savage, inventive and soulful. As I said, this took me about a month to read. To be honest, normally I probably would have read this within a week or two maximum, because it is quite a gripping read. I'll read you guys the quotes first, and then we'll get into my overall review of this book. So my first quote is on page 93. This is when Liesl is trying to tempt Elle to join her team, and Liesl's boyfriend is Alfie. You just need to know this. There was obviously a checklist somewhere labelled getting Galadriel on board, and she jotted down thinks I'm well fit because she'd noticed me noticing her back at school. She was letting me know she'd be happy to swap her enclave boyfriend for me. Oh well, why swap? She'd love to collect the set if we'd cooperate. I love this quote because A, it's quite funny, but B, it also hints at polyamorous relationships, which is really good and refreshing to see in books, because polyamorous relationships are out there and it's good to see them represented. So I love this. I also thought it was very funny. Like, Liesl is so calculated and she is all out for what she can get. So the fact she's given Elle this attention means she knows how powerful Elle is now, and she wants in. Page 156. The guards were easy to pick out in their uniform of thick tufted armour, undoubtedly highly practical, meant to muffle and absorb all sorts of magical attacks, although it did make them look vaguely like angry sofas. This quote I just loved because I thought it was just a great way of describing the armour. One thing I will say about this book, so the other two, The Deadly Education and The Last Graduate, they both take place in the Scholomance. So once you know the building, you know the building. Whereas this book takes place in London, in Dubai, in China, it's in Wales. There's a lot of different places, lots of airports as well, where this book goes. which does mean there's a lot more description. Now, I love Naomi Novik's descriptions. She is such a fantastic writer, and you really picture what is going on in this book. The one thing I did find is because the other two are so fast-paced, this one did feel slower, and I believe that's because of that description. So although the description was amazing and I know it inside out, I can really imagine these enclaves and everything like that, they were fantastic, it does slow the pace of what would normally be quite a fast-paced epic read. So just to bear in mind, it's a bit slower to begin with, but it also, in the beginning, actually not even just the beginning, all the way through, gives a really great representation of trauma and PTSD and depression. It's really well thought out. Like, Naomi Novik did such a great job at showing main characters going through these emotional turmoils in detail. So you can really see why they're acting the way they're acting, why they're basically immobilized. It makes sense because of how Naomi Novik has written it. So that was also really good. On page 221, just an example of this beautiful description. I won't read it because it is a full description, but if you just read page 221, it's the description of the clearing with the old abandoned home where Elle's mom tries to heal Orion, and it's just beautifully described. It's shown rather than told. It's described through the story that was once there, rather than just there's a tree there and a building there and leaves all over the place. It's like you can really feel the building, which is superb. And my final one is, again, it's not a quote, it's just I've labeled chapter 16. Basically, there are rules to an enclave war, and I just find that really funny because enclaves are like, I don't know, it seems like Elle is the normal person. Enclaves are these odd people who've made a kind of cult clan thing, and they've made rules for everything and like a step-by-step guide of getting up in the system and just all this. And I just find it really interesting that they've gone so far as to make war rules. That is actually all the quotes. I know this is really weird for me, but as I said, I was ill, so I do apologize. I am still recovering from being ill, but that has given me some time to read. So I've been catching up on my reading, luckily, but it meant with this book I didn't get as many quotes. So overall review, as I said, it's a little bit slower than the previous two due to the amount of description. However, the description is beautiful and really nice to read. Really great showing of trauma, PTSD, depression, all those kind of things. Polyamorous relationship is mentioned. Also some lesbian action going on there, which again, great to see, love it. Like the other two books, fantastic characterization throughout. Naomi Novik is one of my favourite current writers. I love her work. Really speaks to me. So great characterization, great description. Pace was a bit slower compared to the last two, but it did have a really satisfying ending. Now, I did guess things that were going to happen in this book, like I guessed with the big epic end in The Last Graduate. I did see that one coming. I did see parts of this one coming, but I was grateful that they did, if that makes sense. Overall, I would give this book 8 out of 10 stars, mainly just because it was a wee bit slow to begin with. But I would still highly recommend reading it and the full Scholomance series. It's a great trilogy, absolutely loved it. And that's it for this book review. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoy what you see. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. If you like to see as soon as I upload, click that little bell down below. You can also follow me on Instagram, Facebook and Tumblr. I post on bookish pictures as well as my writing tips and unboxings on there. And thanks for watching, guys. Bye!